Okay, welcome everybody. I'm Jason Neufeld from Elder Needs Law, and with me today is Janis Blenden from A&B Counseling Services. Janice, thank you very much for being with us today. I'd love for you to start by just introducing yourself, tell us about you, and tell us about what your company does.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Jason. It's such an honor and a privilege to be here with you today. And thank you for the opportunity. As you said, my name's Janis Blenden. I myself am a licensed clinical social worker with a lot of years of experience. I'm not even going to tell you how many years, because then it'll tell you my age, but a lot of years of experience. And what my company does, what we offer is through traditional Medicare, seniors and younger people who do have the Medicare benefit.
Sure, if they're disabled and they get Medicare, absolutely.
Correct. Are able to receive in-home counseling services and also telehealth and telephonic sessions without a doctor's prescription, and it's an unlimited benefit. It could be weekly, it could even be twice weekly, depending on the need of the individual. And we know there's a great need.
Yeah, especially now with the we're talking to this, we're having this conversation during the coronavirus pandemic, and I think people's anxiety has never been higher. We'll get into that in a second, but I'd love you to talk to us about what are the typical cases you're dealing with? What sort of problems are people having that should have them trigger in their minds, I should call Janice, I should call A&B Counseling Services? What are you dealing with typically?
I'm dealing with a lot of loss on a number of different levels. So loss of a spouse, loss of a sibling, just loss in general, loss of independence. So if you just take the word loss and you just expound on that, it's not just necessarily the loss of a death of somebody. But it could be a number of different things, you know, like I said, independence, loss of health. And so that is the greatest need, is people that are dealing with grief and loss, and helping them adjust to that and get through that in a healthy way, by not keeping those emotions inside and not expressing their grief, which happens with anybody, but particularly with this population.
Sure.
Also dealing with a lot of isolation, even without COVID. People find themselves, you know, seniors, when they lose their independence and they can't drive anymore, or it's harder for them to get around. Well, then they have that sense of isolation where they are unable to do the things that they used to do.
And I imagine that brings with it depression and anxiety and all these sorts of comorbidities right along with that.
Yes. And you know, what's very, very interesting is that with depression, anxiety, and stress, people start to forget things. And right away they get labeled with dementia, and it's not dementia. It's really the stress and the anxiety and depression that masks as dementia and forgetfulness, with forgetfulness. And it's not true. It's not that at all.
So that's super interesting to me, because I'm learning something new today. So are you seeing patients who have what a lot of people think is dementia, and as they go through the counseling services with you, whether it's in their house or whether it's over Zoom like this, I would imagine, you're seeing that those dementia-related symptoms subside as they progress through the counseling process?
Yes. Particularly, I have one lady that I can think of that I've been seeing for a couple of years, and they keep telling her that she's got dementia. Although recently she saw a new neurologist and he said no. And I've been telling her for years that her stress and agitation and anxiety is what's making her forget. It's not anything else. And you know, the other thing that I always say is, if you forget your keys, doesn't mean you have dementia. If you forget what the key is used for, that's when you might start to worry.
Very good point. Very good point. Okay, terrific. So dementia, you know, dementia is already this opaque, you know, non-specific diagnosis, and it's sometimes people need to think a little bit more deeply about it when they get that initial suggestion of that diagnosis, because it may not be dementia. That's very important. I think not enough people know about that. So I'm really happy you brought that up. So you said this in your introduction, but I want to make sure that it's very specific, that this is a traditional Medicare covered benefit. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct.
And there's no limitations on the number of encounters or sessions with you or your staff?
That's correct. There's no limit. It could go on for years.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you just have to make sure that it's medically necessary.
Right.
And as time goes on and people are getting sicker, or my individual clients that people have, they're getting sicker, they have more needs.
Right.
And that's the reason for the no limitation on this particular benefit. And no doctor's prescription either. Do you need?
I love it. It's got to be medically needed, but they don't need to go to their doctor or really any doctor. They can contact you directly, and you or your staff can be the counselors can be the ones who make that determination.
Exactly.
That's terrific. That's terrific. And talk about I'm here based in South Florida. My elder law practice is based in Aventura and Plantation. I cover the entire state of Florida. What regions do you cover?
We cover the entire state of Florida as well, plus Texas and Virginia.
Okay.
And one good thing to come out of COVID, if there's anything that's good that came out of COVID, is that Medicare expanded this benefit to do telehealth and telephonic sessions, and expanded the benefit that we can actually serve right now anybody in any state in the 50 states. So I had two people move to another state, and I'm able to continue to see them. Right.
Okay. Terrific. I love that we're talking today, because I think you're one of the best kept secrets in the state of Florida. I don't think people know. A lot of people don't know this exists. My goal is to let people know that there are these resources available, that they either A, think it's expensive and they can't afford it, or B, they don't even realize there's an opportunity for it. So I'd love for you, give us your contact information. How can people get in touch with you?
Okay. Well, first of all, they can always call me. My telephone number is 954-609-0022 is my phone number.
Great.
And on our website, which is A&B Alpha Beta -counseling.com is our website, and you can put your referral information in there, and it will then send me a text message.
Very good.
Put in some of the information, and that makes it a little easier, one of the two.
Let me ask you something else. Oftentimes in my practice, my initial contact is not with who will become my client, it's with their adult child, typically, because they are concerned about their elderly loved one. If I'm speaking to that person, not the client or not who will eventually become your patient, are they able to call you as well and say, listen, mom needs this and she's clearly depressed and we don't know how to get her to agree to this and she's nervous about making the phone call? Do you have any advice in that sort of situation?
Always get buy-in though from the individual.
Yeah.
Because you don't want somebody that's resistant. A lot of people in this category, in this age range, still have sort of a stereotype thought process going around therapy.
Right.
So that's why, definitely, by the way, the family member can call me. And what I do say, if the person is resistant, again, it's like with anything, you need buy-in from the individual with anything. Whether it be they take their antibiotics, whether it be that they take their blood pressure, whether it be that they follow a diet, right? It's always
very fair, very fair.
But what I do tell them is that I don't necessarily say therapy, because that scares some of these folks away, but I do say for ongoing advocacy and support.
Okay.
And sometimes the terminology you use with the resistant individual makes all the difference in the world.
Right. I think that makes total sense. Janice, You're great. I love working with you, and if I can tell as many people as I can about you and what you do and the services that A&B Counseling Services offers, I'm going to continue to do that. Thank you very, very much for being here. I'm going to put all your contact information on the website and in the YouTube notes, so you should be able to look right down there in the YouTube show notes, and you'll see Janice's information. And please reach out. You don't have to contact me. You can go right out to Janice directly. She's terrific to deal with, and she really provides a very, very valuable service. Janice, again, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Jason, and thank you for this opportunity again. And you are also fabulous, and I love working with you.
Thank you very much.